I know we have. Well, we've been socially distanced for a long, long time. So I thought we could go round and share our favourite tipple, but I'm going to do the health warning message first, because just recently there was a report released by the Royal College of Psychiatrists saying that we in Britain had hit the bottle during lockdown, which is perhaps not surprising, seeing as we were pretty much trapped in our homes for 3 months. But they, on the serious side, my mum and dad live next door, and they would normally come into us if we're not out. They would come into us for dinner on a Friday and Saturday night, and that was the biggest loss, because we would normally have a glass of wine together. So as lockdown crept on and we had these lovely sunny days, I was going round on a Thursday, Friday, Saturday and Sunday and sitting on their terrace outside their living room. I was outside and they were inside, and we were having our glass of wine, and that was our thing. So that was 4 nights a week that I was drinking. And I always drank pretty much the same thing, which was Dark Horse Chardonnay. Now I've said that, you'll see it everywhere. It's sold in Asda, it's sold in Sainsbury's, it's sold in Tesco. It's a Californian Chardonnay. I love a Californian Chardonnay. You can literally taste the sunshine. But this is just usually about £8.50. And it's just a brilliant quality wine for not a high price. But so popular is it that when I went down to my local Tesco to get some to show you, it has sold out. It was my fear all through lockdown. They're going to sell out. They're never going to be able to import it from America, and they did. And tonight it's sold out. So instead, I'm drinking the Merlot. They do a Merlot and they do a Cabernet Sauvignon. So that's what I'm having tonight. Now, Julia, you are a woman who knows your drink. Julia Bryce.
Not so much my wine though. I'm not a massive wine drinker. All my friends will have had wine throughout lockdown, more or less most nights. I am a gin or a cocktail kind of girl. I'm trying to get into whiskey a little bit more, but it was cocktails for me, to be honest. Our local, one of my favourite local cocktail bars, Orchid, they launched a cocktail delivery service, and that is probably where majority of my money was spent during lockdown. I didn't drink anymore. I don't believe that I drank anymore or any less. I maybe drank a wee bit less. I don't really know why.
Less.
I have no idea why, but I wanted to support local as much as I could, so I was trying to buy a bottle of gin here and there, but the cocktail thing just kind of stuck with me. They would change it every week or every couple of weeks. They've got, tonight I'm drinking a canned cocktail called Hippie Fizz. The guys at Porter's Gin, which is like an Aberdeen gin, they're the team behind it. So they've got canned cocktails, but they also did these ready to make cocktails that would come in these. They weren't plastic because they were recyclable, but almost like these little packs that you had to cut open, and you poured it out and you had your garnish there, and you made it all look pretty, and you took a picture for your Instagram, and everybody was just loving it, and everybody really did get on the back of it, and that was what I got that was my lockdown kind of love that I fell in love with, was getting cocktails delivered, because I missed going out with my friends. So we'd send it to each other. So for birthdays we'd send each other cocktails, and we'd arrange cocktail nights where we'd all catch up and have our cocktails, and it was really fun when you were sending them, because you didn't tell the other person, and then your buzzer would go or your doorbell would go, and you'd all be like, oh my god, I got a cocktail, and then you could send a wee message. It was just really nice. So that was kind of lockdown for me with regards to drinking. But,
that was massive, sending cocktails, ordering cocktails. That was the surprise hit of lockdown. And some people have now established businesses in just cocktail delivery. They're sending around the world. Unbelievable.
Totally. Well, they now do UK wide, and there's another couple local bars that were doing it, dropping off at your door. And yeah, I just thought the whole community kind of just really got involved, and everybody was just basically ordering cocktails, or trying to buy a bottle of local gin or local whiskey or whatever, from the bottle shops, because the bottle shops then start doing deliveries and that as well. So that again was great. But also not great at the same time. But no, it's been really good. Like the city, especially like in Aberdeen, is definitely tried to support local as much as possible. I don't know if it's the same in like the kind of areas that you guys are all living in, but yeah, no, cocktails is definitely my thing through lockdown.
What have you got with you this evening? Your tip.
Okay, so I have a couple things. I'm drinking my hippie fizz, but
what's the hippie fizz?
Hippie fizz.
I'm old. I don't know these things. Okay.
So it's like a pre-made like cocktail, and so they kind of carbonate it. It's all like homemade kind of ingredients, and they batch it with porter's gin, and yeah, it's really nice. It's like tropical and a little bit sour, but yeah, it's ace. It's a really easy drink, like summer in a glass, basically. But I've also kind of got into like craft soda as well. So for the non-drinkers, Rapscallion is one that I came across throughout lockdown, and they launched a rhubarb one, and it's like a sour-faced pool. But I'll show you their branding. It's so cool. Like, so you peel it off.
Ooh.
It's really it's really cool. So they're based in Glasgow, I think it is. But just for the non-drinkers, that was my kind of go-to. Like they've got heaps of different flavors, and they use like local fruit. So they use fruit from Angus. They use fruit, I'm pretty sure, from Aberdeenshire as well. So I just quite like that. And they work with porters as well to create some of these tins. So there's a nice marriage there. Wow. And then I said gin was my other massive thing. So Isla Harris gin is one of my go-tos, and so is porters. I've already plug porters, like, come on. But they launched this Kaylee bottle, and this Kaylee bottle went absolutely nuts on social. Like, you couldn't get it for love nor money. And they've only released 2 batches so far. The next one should be this week coming. And this is what it looks like. And it's just absolutely beautiful. Like, I just think it is so cool, and it's like handmade, and like all the ceramist who is local to the area, I'm pretty sure he's like done it all. A Scottish ceramist.
Brian.
Yeah,
well, I mean, been drinking.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wasn't working on this team when lockdown started, but I was working on the production side of things, and you know, predominantly I would be finishing about 8-9 o'clock, and it just seemed to me that when I wasn't really able to go anywhere, and I'd been out for a walk during the day before I started, so I wasn't starting till lunchtime, that I would have a couple of drinks. And that was me, like, you know, for a good 3 or 4 weeks, certainly every night. And I thought,
every night.
Yeah, and then on Saturday, Karen and I, my wife Karen and I, would sit down, and we kind of made it a little bit of a project to try and get a different bottle of gin every month. Or
I thought you were going to say every night. I was like, oh, that's quite a project.
Yeah, so we did that, and trying it with different kinds of tonic and stuff like that. But cider's my sort of go-to thing, but I do like gin as well, and rum as well. But you know, I went to, you know, it was, and it just got to the point after about 4 weeks, and I went, well, wait a minute, this is every night. So, you know, you really ought to take 2 or 3 nights off a week, certainly, you know, if you are, you know, from a health point of view. And I thought to myself, I'm just drinking way too much here, so I kind of just made a point of Monday was a definite no-no.
Yes. That's the serious sweet night, isn't it? Monday night, yeah.
I just went, no, I'm not going to drink on a Monday. And then invariably it wasn't on a Wednesday or a Thursday, but I would have a drink on a Tuesday. I have no idea why that came about. It was just... so, yeah, I mean, I can understand how people would fall into that trap, to be honest with you.
It was like a limbo land, the lockdown thing as well. It was a bit like, particularly for people who were furloughed, it would have been like being on holiday for a while. So it's really understandable, isn't it? Why you would just maybe say, oh, let's have a glass of wine tonight and try and sort of cheer ourselves up.
Yeah.
Very easy to see. So what are you drinking tonight then, Brian?
Well,
We've got into bad ways.
I've got this little Eden Mill passion fruit and coconut. This is obviously made in St Andrews. It's not very easy to see the label.
Oh, I can. It's lovely.
Nice.
Turn it the right way. There we go.
Very smart.
I love that.
I mean, we have actually, obviously it's reasonably local to us, being from St Andrews. We tried a couple of those actually. That one, we also tried a chili one, and I love my chilies, as you know. So the chili gin, it was chili and ginger, and it was an interesting one because it wasn't that spicy, but it just had a little bit of have a sort of hotness about it at the end, and it was actually quite nice. I really quite enjoyed it. However, in saying that, it wasn't one of our favourites. But we also had this one, which we've tried. This is just about finished, but this is a Copperberg one.
Oh, right. I didn't know they did gin.
Yeah, so they do a few flavours of this. That's an orange and passion fruit. Yeah, it's a Seville orange and passion fruit or something, so that's really quite nice. So what I've been doing is I've been trying to mix them up with different types of tonic. So this one is a pink rhubarb. It's done by Fentimans, but obviously you've got your all these other fancy tonics that are going about, and a lot of the budget supermarkets have actually started to get on this bandwagon now. Your Lidls, your discounters, your Lidls, your Aldis, and what have you, are bringing out their versions of this. So if you shop around, you really can get some decent deals on these tonics. I mean, for instance, my local shop, which just happens to be the Co-op, are doing a deal on that Fentimans just now, and you're getting a big bottle of that for £1.40, which is pretty decent. So
And you've got the big gin glass, the round gin glass. That's the thing these days, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing was, when we were doing the thing with the sort of trying the different types of gin, I was freezing raspberries, I was freezing strawberries, I was freezing grapes, I was trying to work in different fruits and stuff. It was a bit of a fun on a Saturday night for us, and we would accompany it with a bit of food and that, just depending on what we were cooking. So, that was a fun element to lockdown because we couldn't do anything. And I think a lot of people did indulge themselves in that.
And Rebecca, you don't drink much at all, do you?
I don't. I've never really been much of a big drinker. I think I had my first sip of alcohol when I was about 18. Because and then that was when I was at uni. And then I think even then I didn't drink that much anyway, because the thing was, I never saw a drunk person that I aspired to be like. It really
You must have met me at a very young age.
Yeah. I think because I was going places where people were drinking, but I was always like, no, I'm okay. I don't want to. I'm okay not being like that. So I've never really drank that much. I think the last few years, I would sometimes go out after work and maybe have a glass of wine there. But over lockdown, the people that I would normally drink with, they weren't in Dundee, which is where I am. A lot of them had gone back to their families just before lockdown started. And I live by myself. So I felt like me having a drink was kind of emphasising the fact that I was on my own. And if I had like too much, there was nobody here to like cook me a hangover breakfast the next day. And it would just emphasise the fact that I was all alone. So I tried not to. I think I did maybe a couple of times. But I tried not to, not that I really do very much anyway.
Do you like the taste of alcohol?
I love rosé wine. That's my go-to. I've just started getting into gin and tonics because I find I like drinking rosé wine when I'm out, like at bars and restaurants and stuff. But I found kind of gin and tonics more comfortable when you're watching TV or you're kind of at home or you're hanging out and stuff. I find that's more of a sort of social drink. So I started that, but you have like a rosé wine.
It's funny, when you're talking about drinking on your own, that's not something I tend to do.
No.
But I mean, occasionally I'll have a glass of wine if I'm on my own, because obviously my husband doesn't drink now. But yeah, not something. I mean, would you, Julia and Brian, would you drink on your own?
Do you know, I do drink on my own, but it's always on a Saturday night because the girls, like my wife and daughter, tend to go to bed a lot earlier than me. So we'll maybe be having a drink. They'll go to bed at 10 o'clock. But the strange thing is, if I am having a drink on my own, I immediately turn the television off and have nothing else on. I just sit and I'll finish that drink and I might have one more and then I'll go to bed. But I will sit and just with my own thoughts and enjoy the drink.
Yeah.
And I've not got any other distractions.
That's my biggest fear. Because I feel like that would emphasise the fact that I'm living on my own. I don't know. To me, that just seems like it emphasises.
Tip you over.
Maybe I'm just savouring the peace and quiet because they've gone to bed.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe if I lived with people, I would just be craving that a bit more.
I think before we move on to enjoying our drinks, I thought I should balance things up by sharing my favourite soft drink with you. This has become a bit of a favourite over lockdown, and having a husband who doesn't drink, you're always looking for soft drinks that are kind of exciting, but they're not too high in sugar and all the rest of it. And this San Pellegrino one, it's Essenza. This is their dark Morello cherry and pomegranate.
Wow, that sounds great.
I know that.
It is absolutely lovely, and it's got no sugar or sweeteners in it or anything like that. It is just the mineral water, but with a little bit of that natural flavoring in it, and it's fabulous. 0 calories, I think. Well, cheers, everybody.
Cheers. I don't think I showed what I was drinking.